Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I am celebrating the August release from Altenew. Be sure to hop along for a chance to win $300 in prizes. I am highlighting the Mushroom Cottage die set from this release. I absolutely love it. So I am going to start off by die cutting all of the pieces and laying those out on my sticky mat. My color scheme is reminiscent of a sunset, so that is what I'm essentially going for. I do also use some cardstock that is textured like birch wood and vellum, so you will see that being used as well. For my mushroom caps, those were die cut out of an orange tone cardstock, and I'm going over the edges of those with some Andromeda ink. Inking over cardstock always adds excellent depth to my projects and makes them pop even more. So I am going to be adding ink to all of these pieces that you see here on the mat. I now grab Berrylicious and add that in to the mushroom caps. I make sure that I blend that well into the Andromeda and pull it towards the center so there is more highlighting going on. For the leaves and stems, I start off with Persian blue. I decided not to use green on green just so I get more depth and a different look. Once I've completed adding the Persian blue, I go in with sapphire along the centers of these stems and leaves to add even more depth and change up the color. There's something about adding the ink on this cardstock that transforms the original color of the cardstock even more. I feel like the orange in those mushroom caps pops more than it used to, as well as the green on these leaves and stems. Moving on to the silhouettes and stalks of the mushrooms, I'm going in with Pastel Sunrise, and I am focusing this color along the base as well as any of these sections where I want there to be some shadowing or there should be shadowing created by the mushroom cap overlapping these silhouettes. In general, try to keep in mind where other pieces will overlap and there should be shadows created. With all of those pieces ink blended, I move on to layering all of the mushrooms together. So I love looking at this layering guide. I am so glad it is included. It makes this so much easier. So I have that off to the side, helping me ensure that I put every piece where it needs to go. So I just add on my pieces. The background piece of the mushroom is die cut with some birch wood paper that you can find from Altenew, and I love the texture. I thought it was perfect for using for a mushroom. To add more contrast to the birch wood, I do go back in with the Pastel Sunrise and quickly add some ink over those embossed lines that are die cut out just so they pop out more. Instead of using a solid cardstock for the backer to those mushroom caps, I went with vellum so it can soften the wood grain but also provide a little bit of opaqueness through those holes in those mushroom caps. From there, all that is left is adding on the door for this specific mushroom. Others have the windows, and the backer of those windows is also vellum. The vellum allows the windows to seem see-through, but they are also a bit frosty. For the doors, I used wood grain paper again because I wanted that texture to be there, and the border along those doors is some gold paper. When I die cut all of the mushroom shapes, I did die cut each of the mushroom cottage shapes out. So I have three different versions of the mushroom cottage that I'm going to use in my card front. But the versatility of this die set allows you to create and customize the village or cottage that you want to use. So you don't have to go by that picture on the front of the packaging. You could have two of those double house mushrooms on your card. I do appreciate that versatility, and you can change the window shapes and the door shapes and whatnot. But here is how my completed mushrooms look before I add them on to my card panel. I grabbed an A2 size card panel in the same color as what I use for my mushroom caps, and I use that same color combination of inks, which is Berrylicious and Andromeda, to ink blend on this card panel. I wanted to bring in more of that color. I love the pop and the variation that it gives, so I am using that here. I will say that this was a very trust the process moment because the blending seemed a bit too harsh and darker than I intended for it to be. But once everything is added on this card, it is perfect in my opinion. For the sake of evening out some of that harshness, I did spritz a bit of water and just lift that off of the panel, and I think it helped so much and added even more texture, which I love having on my cards. Once the panel was dry, I grabbed a greeting from the Mushroom Greetings stamp set, and I am using the Andromeda ink instead of black ink to stamp the sentiment onto my card panel. I did rotate the panel, so if you were worried about how everything was going to come together with that ink blended area, no worries. I rotated my panel so my sentiment will go in the lighter portion of my card panel. Now to assemble, I go ahead and adhere the tall branch there, and I am going to end up popping up my mushrooms. I add some foam squares to the back of these to pop them up, and then I'm going to layer the greenery behind to fill in some of the spaces. So I do cut those once I have my mushrooms placed where I like them. My goal was to use each piece of ink blended greenery that I created. So what I ended up doing was popping up the greenery here that you see on the bottom left of the screen, and I created like a double offset look, and that was just to ensure that I used everything that I had ink blended. It also provided a little extra contrast as well, so I did appreciate that. But I am tucking things and gluing things as I go. If you have made it this far in this video and would like to be entered into that $300 giveaway, just as a sign to me, please be sure that if you comment, leave a mushroom emoji in your comment, and that just lets me know that you actually watched this video all the way through. After removing the overhang of the greenery from my panel, I grabbed the apricot frost enamel dots and shapes, and I'm adding those onto the panel to be the doorknobs and like the door hanger, that star there. But here is my completed card. I hope you all have enjoyed my process. Don't forget to leave a comment and be sure to support the other designers in this Altenew release hop as well. Thank you for joining me and have a great day.